राधा सत्यकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। अगर बिंदु
बस 1 मिनट वो मैं ऑन कर रहा हूँ वीडियो, स्क्रीन शेयर करता हूँ। थ्री पॉइंट 28।
Ihitam, or he is performing prekshaniya pastimes. And the in Shayanam also, one who is sleeping, or Vaibhav Shayanam.
From
15 minutes, 1 hour 44 minutes we can play, and 15 minutes we can for discussion.
ये
Because
जो
recordings better we
ये जो
discuss
लेक्चर
also.
है ना वो ये 3 hour 28 minutes 3.28.19 से है। आप जो लिंक में है
उसके पहले नहीं है,
उसके पहले का
है ना
यहाँ
20 to 20 है ना। अच्छा
1 भी।
हाँ, इसके ऊपर 29 1 2 हाँ that yes
तो
first
वो
part।
1 घंटा 48 minutes का है।
हाँ
सो
ठीक है ना, we have 2 hours।
ओके ठीक है।
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की श्रील प्रभुपाद
You
की
can skip the prayer part।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेव। Namaste. Probably we take one down. Hare Krishna. So, Hare Krishna. So, welcome all of you in today's session. We are going to complete chapter 28 or 28 from the third canto. So, that will complete the philosophical discussions in this chapter, in this section also. And then what remains is chapter 33, which is just a conclusion. Prayers of Devabhuti and her expression of gratitude and Kapila's leaving.
आवाज नहीं आ रहा है आपको?
So that section probably we take
हरे
one
कृष्ण।
online session.
हाँ वॉल्यूम कम आ रहा है आपको?
मुझे आवाज बहुत ज्यादा कम है।
अरे मैंने फुल किया है इधर। माइक्रोफोन हरे कृष्ण।
आपका आवाज क्लीन है, वहाँ यूट्यूब का जो है ना वो।
वीडियो का आवाज कम है ब्रो, मतलब मैं यहाँ पे भी मुझे कम ही आ रहा है आवाज। मतलब इधर का वॉल्यूम
हाँ।
फुल है। आप चाहे तो अभी कैसे करेंगे? हम्म,
You can all decide. Usually I'm not free in the evenings after 5 o'clock. I become busy.
ठीक है ब्रो, ये चलेगा।
33rd chapter, if you want to have it next week or whatever, just sometime in days. Okay.
प्रभु जी माइक में नहीं
So,
बोल रहे एक्चुअली, इसलिए प्रॉब्लम है थोड़ा।
sharing the screen. So this is chapter 28, Lord Kapila's instructions on the execution of devotional service. So now this is, exactly speaking, this is Bhakti Mishra Yoga. This is Bhakti Mishra Yoga, and prior chapter was Bhakti Mishra Jnana. So because Bhakti is mixed in this, so Prabhupada translates as execution of devotional service. Also, the description here can very much be corresponded and correlated with the descriptions of Bhakti also. Here, a lot of discussion is on dharana and dhyana of yoga, which especially dhyana corresponds to smaranam of Bhakti. So we can see in Ashtanga Yoga, the seventh limb, Saptam Angam, that corresponds to Bhakti's third limb, Tritiyam Angam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Like, so that's why many of the discussions here are very much valid for the devotees. So that's why also it is Lord Kapila's instructions on the execution of devotional service. So in this way we can see. So in this particular chapter, we see that the path of yoga has been described, his meditation, dharana, dharanashraya, how does he meditate, that is described, the yogi. And then, because it is Bhakti Mishra Yogi, his purpose or his goal is what? What is the goal of Bhakti Mishra Yogi? Bhakti Mishra Yogi, I am saying, not Yoga Mishra. So his purpose is to merge in Brahman. So that's for that purpose, how, having experienced Paramatma, how he takes that particular goal, that is also described towards the end of the chapter very vividly. Chitta Badisham Shanakaye Yungte. He separates the hook of his mind from Paramatma. So Vishwanath Chakravarti writes a very elaborate commentary on that verse. I would have loved to take that commentary word by word from Sanskrit, but yeah, let's share whatever is possible from that. A very good commentary. You yourself can read it. That would be text 34. So it's a very good commentary on that. The unfortunate yogi, he says. This way. So yes, but that's the point, that's Bhakti Mishra Yoga. So they are not offensive, but they are not also interested. That's the point. So let's see now. In this chapter, first 12 verses, there will be description of limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. Various Ashtanga Yoga's various limbs. So let's talk about that. Chapter, many of the topics are known, so it might go very fast also. But wherever there is needed, we'll do discussion also. So this is text 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yogasya Lakshanam Vakshe Sabijasya Gripatmaje Mano Yenaiva Vidhina Prasannam Yati Satpatham.
The personality of Godhead said, "My dear mother, O daughter of the king, now I shall explain to you the system of yoga, the object of which is to concentrate the mind. By practicing this system, one can become joyful and progressively advance towards the path of the absolute truth."
So Bhagavan continued, Kapila Muni is continuing. So Mother Devavati asked many questions, 7 questions especially, out of which her 4th question was about yoga, path of yoga, right? First question about mokshopaya, second question about appropriate bhakti. Third question about jnana. Fourth question about yoga. Fifth question about elaboration of bhakti. Sixth about time. Seventh about samskriti, movements of the living entities. So if you remember this structure, this section will be always very easy for you. So here she is being answered by Lord Kapila about her question about path of yoga. So he says, Mother, Nripatmaje, yogasya lakshanam vaksha. I will speak you now the characteristic of yoga, but I will speak about sabija yoga. What sort of yoga? Sabija. Sabija is a qualifier for that word yoga. कैसा योग सिर्फ योग नहीं, सबीज योग के बारे में बोलूंगा. तो ये सबीज योग क्या होता है? But you eat some seeds in this yoga. Sabij, like that. Eating seeds is become very popular these days, right? Everywhere I go, people give me seeds. I said, the seeds we are growing in fields and all, now they are purchasing in such. My father's land is there, so all the grains that he would grow, that you get now with such costly packet and price. So anyway, Sabija. So what is Sabija yoga? Nirbija yoga and Sabija yoga. There are two terms. So Sabija yoga is that yoga where there is alambana. Alambana. What that means is, in that yoga, the dhyaya, the object of meditation is Lord Vishnu. That is called as Sabija yoga. Because Bija, Vishnu is called Bija. So Sabija is Dhyaya, or the object of meditation is Vishnu. It is not some void or candle or your favorite actor or actress. They speak. They teach such yoga where you are meditating on the actress. So what yoga you will do, right? Why? Because they say your dharnashray can be whatever you like. So your dharnashray can be candle, monkey, actress, or their synonyms, whatever. So all that, these are the things. But actual yoga is Sabija yoga. It is supposed to be with Vishnu as Dhyaya. Not even Anya Daivatam. You see Vijayadhvaj. I'm reading from Vijayadhvaj. He says Bijam Vishnu. Bij means what? Vishnu. Tena Sahitasya. So that yoga which is with meditation on Vishnu, that is called Vaishnava yoga. Sabija yoga. Otherwise, other yogas, they are called Nirbija yoga. You can see, he quotes a verse also. That's the advantage of reading commentaries. You get a lot of info. Sabijo Vaishnavo yogo nirbijastu anya daivatah. Very clear. Vaishnava yoga is Sabija yoga, and Nirbija is what? Anya daivata. Some other worshipable dhyaya there. Dhyaya means the object of meditation. This is what? Bijam Vishnu hi jagatah shakhadhyanya devata. This is because Vishnu is bija, a seed, while all other devatas and all that, they are branches. So when you say Sabija, you cannot meditate on some other devata. Then it would be Sashakha yoga instead of Sabija yoga.
This is Vaishnava terminology or universally accepted terminology?
No, this is universally accepted. Even Patanjali speaks about Sabij and Nirvij. Patanjali also accepts Sabij. Ishwar Pranidhanani, Vishnu, like that. But what has happened? That yoga of Patanjali fell in the hands of, the fertile brains of the West. So then they have come up with their own versions, like Doga and like all different sorts of yoga, right? They speak about. So you see, that's what the tradition has been spoiled in that manner. Otherwise, even even he speaks, Patanjali speaks about Sabija Yoga that way, because that's standard. So that's the meaning, all right? There is this alamban. Alamban means, you understand? No? Alamban means ashray, or it's shelter. Shelter, that's called alamban. So by this particular yoga, what will happen? The mind will become very, very joyful, and it goes to the Satpatha. It treads the path of Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu. That's all. That's all. The yoga process explained by Lord Kapila Deva in this chapter is authorized and standard. So that Sabija is authorized or standard, that aspect. And therefore these instructions are very careful. This chapter it has been clearly stated that the result of yoga is not some siddhi or something. In the last part we saw that the jnani or yogi does not get caught up into any siddhi and all. So the purpose is actually to attain the Supreme Lord. That's the purpose. By all these stages of practice, which is all 8 limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga, one must realize Lord Vishnu, who is the target of all yoga. Vishnu is the target. He is commenting on which word? Sabija. He is commenting on Sabija from the verse. There are so-called yoga practices in which one concentrates the mind on voidness or on the impersonal. वो कौन सा yoga हो गया फिर? Nirbija yoga. But this is not approved by the authorized yoga systems as explained by Kapila Deva. Even Patanjali explains that the target of all yoga is Vishnu. Himanshu Group, Prabhupada is also writing, you can see. Ashtanga Yoga is therefore part of Vaishnava practice because its ultimate yoga is, the goal is realization of Vishnu. Vaishnava Yoga it is like that. So very clearly. So people may go on doing whatever they want to do, but that is not yoga. That is their, Swa Yoga. Text. Yeah, real yoga is Vaishnava Yoga. Yes. Text 2. Swadharmacharanam shaktya vidharmacha nivartanam daivallabdhena santosha atmavicharanarchanam.
One should execute his prescribed duties to the best of his ability and avoid performing duties not allotted to him. One should be satisfied with as much gain as he achieves by the grace of the Lord, and one should worship the lotus feet of a spiritual master.
Yeah. So now the Yama Niyam are being described first. All these verses, like the second verse, third verse, fourth verse, up to fifth verses, Maunam. This is all Yama and Niyam. Okay. Verse 2, 3, 4, and the Maunam word from the fifth verse is actually Yama and Niyama. Don'ts and do's. So, what are the Yamas? What are the Niyamas? Close the window. Yes. So you can see that there are 5 factors in the Yama and 5 factors in the Niyama. 5 Yamas, 5 Niyamas. So what are, Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Yama Niyama Naha. Yama Niyam ki baat ho rahi hai. Ahimsa. So now first Yamas. What are Yamas? Yama means don'ts. One should follow them very strictly. One should stay away from Himsa. So you can see Ahimsa. This is first Yama. Then Satya. Always speak the truth. Ahimsa is non-violence. Asteya. Asteya is not stealing anything, not encroaching upon others' property, not looting, all sort of grabbing others' things. aparigraha, collecting more than necessary, too much storing. Finally, brahmacharya, celibacy. ये तो कोई बोलना ही नहीं चाहता, right? Brahmacharya in today's daytime. And Mauna is also added by Vishwanath Chakravarti. Mauna also is considered to be Yama. I'm not talking unnecessarily rubbish this way. So that's Yama. While Swadharma, Acharan and all these are Niyamas. So you can see in this verse also, Swadharma Acharanam has come. So it is practicing one's own duties, Varnashrama duties properly. In the beginning part, at least one practices Varnashrama. So there is Santosh, there is Atmavid Charanarchanam, very important also. Worshipping the lotus feet of those who are Atmavid, self-realized souls. So even yogi is not like he reads the books and goes to practice yoga. He also learns under teachers. And they also have great regard for teacher. They worship the feet of teachers. So Yamaniyam are spoken in not in exactly in order, but you can see the words basically refer to either Yama or Niyama in this way. So Santosha. So that is Niyama, right? Like that. So Prabhupada. The final statement is Atmavit Charanarchanam. Atmavit means a self-realized soul or bona fide spiritual master. Unless one is self-realized and knows what his relationship with the super soul is, he cannot be a bona fide spiritual master. That's actual standard of the spiritual master. Anyhow, one should seek out a bona fide spiritual master and surrender unto him. Archanam. So that's the final one, very important one. And first recommendation is Swadharma Charanam. One should execute one's duties very, very properly. Not like one is running away from his duty to become yogi. Because the duties are very troublesome, so one is running away to become yogi or jnani or bhakta. Sometimes. So, any inspiration for bhakti or transcendental path is good. But the point is, especially on path of yoga and dhyana, you have to come with proper varnashrama duties performed, because otherwise then the person will not have the antakaran shuddhi. He will not have the purity of the heart. So for him, making progress on the path of yoga and dhyana becomes very difficult. On the path of bhakti, even if the renunciation is immature, still we see the process has a great potency by which person starts getting the taste, gets purified, and then one may have. Although still, even on path of bhakti, we may encourage mature renunciation rather than premature or unripe denunciation. Because then it will stay. Otherwise, it will evaporate. No. One should not accept another's duty. Swadharma Charanam, he is saying. If one is born in a particular society or community, he should perform the prescribed duties for that particular division. But if, however, one is fortunate enough to transcend the designation of birth by being elevated to the standard of spiritual identity, then his Swadharma is solely that of serving the Supreme Personality. So you understand? Swadharma is mandatory if you are taking the path of Nishkam Karma Yoga, Karma Yoga especially. That which becomes in yoga practice and all, which becomes the initial practice. So if you take the path of Karma Yoga, then the duties Varnashrama become mandatory. But if Prabhupada says, if you are elevated to standard of spiritual identity, then your sole duty is to serve the Supreme Personality. So what is this path, standard of spiritual identity that he is saying? When one can take this aspect of only serving the Lord as Swadharma, in which path? In the Bhakti path. Very clear, no? Yes. So in that particular path, you don't have to be bound with the Varnashrama duties. You just accept what is the desire of spiritual master, what is the desire of the superior Vaishnavas guiding us, and we accept that. So,
Once Chitta should be right.
yeah. So, we are speaking in the context of Swadharma, no? Duties. So, because in Jnana there are no duties in Varnashram context. So, that's why we are speaking only in terms of Bhakti. Jnana will not allow any Swadharma only, no? Yeah. After, once somebody accepts Jnana path, then they will do Jnana sadhana. And that is their Swadharma, you could say in that way. But this Swadharma is in the sense of Varnashrama, like that. Okay, so these are Yama Niyama being spoken. Gramya Dharma Nivrittischa Moksha Dharma Ratistatha Mitamedhyadanam Shashvat Vivikta Kshema Sevanam. Go ahead.
One should cease performing conventional religious practices and should be attracted to those which lead to salvation. One should eat very frugally and should always remain secluded so that he can achieve the highest perfection of life.
Yes. So we see that in this there is because this is path of yoga, so it is Gramya Dharma Nivrutti. There is one dharma which is called as Gramya Dharma. That is the path of Karma Kand. It is called Gramya Dharma because it speaks about only Gramya Sukha. क्या सुख होता है कर्मकांड के पाथ में? सेंस एंजॉयमेंट. That's it. So Gramya Sukha is basically, or Gramya Dharma is that dharma which the village people will follow. Of course, by that what you mean is not, sometimes village people are very pious and the city people are very, Krishna also says villages are in mode of, forests are in mode of goodness, cities are in passion, so sometimes villages also in some goodness. So Gramya Dharma, by that what it means is actually ignorant peoples, those who are ignorant. That Gramya is in the sense of ignorance. So he has no interest in Gramya Dharma, which means in Karma Kand. Instead, he has interest in Moksha Dharma Rati. Gramya Dharma se nivrutti, Moksha Dharma mein rati. So even if he follows Nishkam Karma Yoga, so their moksha is only the goal. So initially he follows that and then he takes to the path of yoga where he just accepts out and out moksha dharma, no Gramya Dharma. Mitamedhyadanam, all these things like eating frugally, Shashvat Vivikta Kshema Sevanam, just say living in a secluded place which is very, very peaceful. The niyamas now, Shaucha, Tapaha, Santosha, Swadhyaya, Ishwar Pranidhanani. Those are the 5 things in the niyama. Niyama has 5 things. What are they? Shaucha. Shaucha means internal, external cleanliness. Then Tapaha. One performs austerity. One lives with a austere life. One lives an austere life. So eating frugally and all such things will fall into that tapa. Then santosha. One is happy with what one is getting. One is not so much running behind huge wealth or like that. Then there is swadhyaya. Yogi also has to study shastras, learn shastras, learn about the form of the Lord, pastimes of the Lord. It will come. Yogi also has to do a lot of swadhyaya. And then finally, Ishwar Pranidhan. He has to also worship the Lord. He has to develop that interest in the Lord. तो आप सोचो उसको इतना मेडिटेट करना है भगवान, उसको इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं है भगवान, उसको इंटरेस्ट है गेम्स खेलने में, तो वो क्या योग करेगा? What yoga he will do, right? So that's why he has to cultivate interest by worshipping the Lord, Ishwar Pranidhar. He may worship the Lord even in the deity form initially, or he may worship the Lord by praying Vandanam, by offering glorifications, chanting, Kirtanam, all this. So that is how. It is recommended herein that religious practice for economic development or the satisfaction of sense desire should be avoided. तो देखो ग्राम्य धर्म निवृत्ति चाहिए इसमें. So if you are continuing all gramya dharma, or rather you are cultivating gramya dharma, and then if you are trying to do yoga, it's antithesis of yoga. Religious practices should be executed only to gain freedom from the clutches of material knowledge. Meaning, as a beginner, even when one is like a grahastha or something, I mean, the neophytes of jnana and yoga, which path they can accept if they have to be in varnashram? They have to accept varnashram, nishkam karma. They cannot accept sakam karma because then it's not gramya dharma nivrutti. So that's how it is. Mita medhyadanam, Vishwanath Chakravarti says, this you are aware of this words. How one should eat frugally. So dvau bhavo purayed annai. Half of our belly should be filled with the food, anna. Toyena ekam prapurayed. 1/4 should be filled with water. And marutasya pracharartham chaturtham avasheshayat. Marut means air, so that the air can move in the belly. Sometimes we eat so much that what to speak of air? It looks like whether ether is also there. Till neck, till throat, it's not able to speak also that way. So that much we should not eat. Even when we give classes and all, so before taking classes, little bit you have to eat. Otherwise, lunches will come throughout the class. And then people. So, especially in speaking and all, very important that we follow this. I mean, in general, that's the best one. If you feel you will eat this much, then Ayurveda says you should eat half of that. And 1/4 you should drink water, and 1/4 you should leave it at. But difficult to follow sometimes. If we, multiple. Exactly, that is one good way. When you want to control, then you have to put it in plate and disappear and come back again. That's it. Hunger for 6 parathas here, you should eat 3 only. But if they're in front of you, then 6 becomes 12. Like that, double it. So very important that yogi means the eating aspect is very important. Ahimsa satyamasteyam yavadatha parigraha brahmacharyam tapas shaucham swadhyaya purushachanam.
One should practice non-violence and truthfulness, should avoid thieving and be satisfied with possessing as much as he needs for his maintenance. He should abstain from sex life, perform austerity, and be clean, study the Vedas, and worship the supreme form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So these are we can see ahimsa, satyam, asteya, aparigraha, brahmacharya. these become the yamas. Then tapah, shaucham, swadhyay, purusharchanam, and the maunam. Maunam is also yama, but these others become the aspects of niyama. Tapa, shaucham, swadhyay, and all this become niyama. The word purusharchanam in this verse means worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, especially the form of Lord Krishna. Prabhupada says. No? The word is purusharchanam. Yes, that it will correspond to that. Yes. Now, those are Patanjali's words and these are Bhagavatam's words. So that's how purusharchanam. Then celibacy, needless to say, very important factor. Asteyam, Prabhupada says, is in the broader sense, everyone who accumulates more than he needs is a thief. That glass businessman had come to meet Prabhupada. You remember that story?
Silica.
So Prabhupada said, where did you get the sand, silica from? Swamiji, God made it. But you are taking and making glass of it and selling so much, making money. But Swamiji, I give donation. Prabhupada said, so you are a small thief. You are not a big thief, then you are a small thief. So the point is, in that sense of yo bhunte stena evasa, right? Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. They are also same thing. Tena tyaktena bhunjita magrada prasyasva. One should not desire anyone else's property. So one should be satisfied with one's quota. And for that quota, you have to have the knowledge of varnashrama aspects. You can't leave the quota or the understanding of quota left to individuals, greedy fellows. So their understanding of quota will be very different. So what is set aside as one's quota? That for that understanding, one has to know varnashrama. What is my varna? What is my ashrama? Based on that quota will be there. Like for a king, having a golden throne or golden crown and a beautiful queen and huge army, that's its quota. Uska quota hai wo. And for a brahmana, having very simple living, simple standard, but a huge opportunity for swadhyaya and also for teaching, yajan, patan, dan, that's its quota. So quota, this also depends on the right understanding of varnashram. Otherwise, one may feel like somebody's king, and that's why he had such a huge palatial building and huge resources. One may feel, I also need that. Quota, uska quota pe mera kyun nahi? Why? Because there is no proper understanding. So even in bhakti, in our own institutional setups, a president may have a certain level of facility. Department head may have a certain level of facility. A devotee serving simple, he may have a certain level of facility. So we don't have to compare. Sometimes people feel like some sort of flat rule where everybody gets same thing. Every brahmachari should have a flat rule. No, that's not right. But you should have categories. It need not be haphazard also. The category, if these categories of devotees are there, so that can involve how many years they have spent in bhakti, also what sort of services they have. Based on that, if we make categories and give proper privileges, then there will not be too much of heartburn. Otherwise, if we are whimsical and capricious in offering the facilities, then it will cause a lot of heartburn in people's minds. And more intelligent people, they will cause more chaos. If they're very simple, then they will keep quiet. But if you are very intelligent people and if your policies are not uniform, then it will cause a lot of problem. So this asteya aspect also demands this aspect of managing the Vaishnava community or devotee community in such a way that one does not unnecessarily get incited with the desire to accumulate more and more, like seeing others this way. Finally, Swadhyaya. Prabhupada says, performance of yoga alone is not sufficient. One has to also study the standard Vedic literatures. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. These three guides have to be there. Text 5. Maunam sadasana jaya stairyam prana jaya shanai pratyahara shendriyanam vishayan manasarthi.
Must observe silence, acquire steadiness by practice different yogic postures, controlling the breathing of the vital air, withdraw the senses from sense objects, and thus concentrate the mind on the heart.
Okay. And then there are these factors like maunam, which is another yama, silence. Then sadasana jaya, this refers to which one? Asanas. Sat asan, good asanas, not some improper asanas, proper asanas for performing this yoga. Then stairyam pranajaya. Pranajaya refers to what? Pranayam. So these asana and pranayam will give sthairya. They will bestow stability. The mind will become calm down. These mechanical processes, they calm down mind to a certain degree, isn't it? When you perform pranayam, kumbhaka, rechaka, puraka. So then you see that mind can calm down for some. Even the asana, if you sit in proper asana, then it is very helpful. Then pratyahara indriyanam vishayan manasarati. So taking away the mind and senses from the thought of sense enjoyment and taking them away, driving all those thoughts out by connecting the mind to proper dharnashraya, Lord Vishnu. That is pratyahara. So in process of pratyahara, you want to get rid of all those attachments that you have. So one notes down his attachments and one starts cultivating, getting rid of those thoughts from the mind, from the heart, like in this way. Text 6. Swadhishnanam ekadeshe manasa pranadharanam Vaikunthalila vidhyanam samadhanam tathatmanam.
Fixing the vital air and the mind in one of the 6 circles of the vital air circulation within the body, thus concentrating one's mind on the transcendental pastime of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called samadhi or samadhana of the mind.
Yeah. So, in the process of dharana, one also starts working on these things like one's prana, one starts to focus in such a way, the process of pranayam, that one starts raising the equilibrium point of the pranas from Manipurak chakra to Swadhisthana and Anahat, like that. One starts practicing. So it's also within part of pranayam, where one focuses one's mind on these pranas and starts raising them upwards. So it's part of dharana process. But then ahead of dharana is also Vaikuntha Lila Dhyanam, that there is dhyanam, there is meditation on Lord's Lila, meditation on Lord's limbs. So that is actually real samadhi, samadhanam tathatmana. So you can see there are some mechanical elements and some elements where the devotional aspect starts coming in, like that. Lila vidhyanam means Lila sahit padadi avayav dhyanam. One is meditating on Lord's limbs, but limbs along with that he is meditating also on the leelas pertaining to the limbs. नहीं तो फिर वो limbs को देख रहा है, nails, उसको nails को से और के याद आएंगे. Nails, nails, इसमें क्या क्या रंग लग सकते हैं. Meditation will go to some other place only, right? So along with those limbs, he also meditates on the pastimes pertaining to those limbs. and all. In Dhyanam, and there is Leela Vidhyanam also. So that's why he has to know these things also. भाई योगी को पता ही नहीं है कुछ लीला, तो वो तो फिर दूसरी लीला याद आएगी उसको. So that's why he has to know also Leela Vidhyanam and all. So in this way, then he gets into the stage of samadhi, like that, samadhanam. So general understanding of these limbs you have, that is being explained. It is never mentioned that, Prabhupada highlighted portion I am reading. It is never mentioned that one should concentrate on the impersonal or void. It is said Vaikuntha Leela. And Leela means pastimes. So it will be spoken also ahead in the next set of verses, those Leelas and all that, how they meditate, it is spoken. It is through the processes of devotional service, chanting and hearing of the pastimes of Supreme Personality of Godhead that one can achieve this concentration. So unless you hear those Leelas, how will you meditate? So that's why they have to also do Shravanam, Kirtanam in this way. एतैरन्यैश्च पथिभिर् मनोदुष्टम सत्पथम बुद्ध्या युञ्जीत शनकैर्जितप्राणो ह्यतन्त्रितः.
By these processes of any other true process, one must control the contaminated, unbridled mind, which is always attracted by material enjoyment, and thus fix himself in thought of Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, so the whole path of yoga is that only, unbridled mind being put into thought of Personality of Godhead. Other some aspects of Yama Niyam are spoken further. Shuchau deshe pratisthapya vijitasana asanam tasmin swasti samasina rujukaya samabhyased.
After controlling one's mind and sitting postures, one should spread a seat in a secluded and sanctified place. Sit there in an easy posture, keeping the body erect, and practice breath control.
Yeah. Shuchau deshe pratisthapya. That place should be shuchi, it should be clean and also pure. Cleanliness is one thing, but purity is another, right? Two things are there in deity worship also. There should be cleanliness and there should be purity. Because only cleanliness, like suppose you have a dhoti, kurta, you have used today. So when you wash it in the evening, next day it is pure. But is it clean or not? That depends how you are cleaning it. Now, if you are taking dhoti kurta, dipping like that, then it is pure, but it is not clean. This way. But same way, sometimes something may be pure, but not clean, or rather something may be clean, but not pure. Like that. It may be very clean. Like sometimes some certain kind of clothes and all. They're not very pure because they may involve having some leather or something, or some other substances which we don't use. So in such cases, we see that it is clean, but it's not pure. It is impure. This way. So that's how cleanliness and purity. If you see silk robes, now for silk, you don't have to wash it. You know that if you use the silk and just put it outside in the air, next day you can use it without washing. Silk is considered always pure. It's like that. Even when you in deity worship, suppose you have to do whole day deity worship, then typically they use silk. Why? Then silk means it will never get contaminated. Even if you, with that silk, if you sit or you just lie down for a minute, like it will not get contaminated. So silk is considered like that. It's always pure. But still, if you use like that, not recommended that we don't wash it. You just put it in outside. So after 2-3 times using like that, it will become dirty, isn't it? So now it may be pure, but it is not clean this way. So in deity worship, you have to have both the aspect, cleanliness and purity. So similarly, Shuchi carries that sense actually of cleanliness and purity. So that's why place should also be pure and it should also be clean. ऐसे नहीं कि कसिनो में बैठ के योगा करो. Somebody is sitting in casino, Las Vegas, उधर बैठ के योगा कर रहा है. It's not Shuchodeshe Pratishtha. And it is also not like that, okay, in a place which is like so shabby, filled with dirt, and there he is trying to do yoga, although the place is pure, but the place is not clean. One should have also clean. Vijitasana asanam. One sits properly in the asana. Typically, the asana should have three things, it is said. Shailajana kushottaram. Like that. What does it? It should add, it is deer skin, ajina. And on the top there should be, on the top there should be cloth, chaila. Chaila, ajina, kusha. Oh, that it says deer skin. So deer skin, no question today, deer skin. If we get deer skin, the police will come. Kidhar se aaya kar. But yeah, those days they would use the deer skin also because it had a lot of benefits. And then finally, cloth. Tasmin swasti samasina. And sit in swastikasana. You know swastikasana, right? Where the toes get into, your toes go here like this. Swastikasana. Or sometimes that's what is swastikasana, right? Or maybe putting your toe on the thigh, that is swastikasana. Vishwanath Chakravarti explains. I forgot. Uru Jangantaradhaya Padagre Janu Madhyage. Yeah, Janghantara it means. So swastikasana. That is swastikasana. Yes. So in that it is comfortable. Rujukaya samabhyase. So in this way, keeping the body erect, one practices that. Pranasya shodhayen margam pura kumbhakare chakai pratikulena vachittam yathasthiram vachanchalam.
The yogis would clear the passage of the vital air by breathing in the following manner. First, he should inhale very deeply, then hold the breath in, and finally exhale. Or reversing the process, the yogi can first exhale, then hold the breath outside, and finally inhale. This is done so that the mind may become steady and free from external disturbances.
Yeah. So this further processes of Kumbhak, Purak, Rechak, they have been spoken also. So Vishwanath Chakravarti talks about this aspect. Just a minute, I want to show something. Yeah. Dakshinaya Nasaya Rechanam Rechaka. So it is mentioned that if you allow the inhaling through the right nose, then holding for some time. Inhaling through the right nose is called, right nostril is called as, by Vamaya. Inhaling through the left nostril is called as Purak. You close this and you inhale. That's called Purak. Then you hold the breath. That is called Kumbhak. And then through the right nostril you leave it. That's called Rechak. And like this, one reverses also then. Rechaka Kumbhaka Puraka in this way. Opposite way also. So all these things, they are useful somewhat for devotees also they can do. So that health is maintained nicely. And then one can do practice bhakti nicely. Pranayam is very good actually. Gives a great benefits, pranayams. Asana pranayam, if we can do, take out some time, we will be able to serve Krishna for longer time. Somehow, yeah, but it's very difficult, somehow keeps on. Even for me, I was doing for some time, very nicely I did 2 years and no falling sick for 2 years. It worked so well. Asana and pranayam. I didn't fall sick for 2 years. not even cold, nothing. But then later could not manage it. So then all the diseases start coming on, different diseases and all. So that's why if we can formally take out time for this, actually, it's good. Forcibly. Bhakti Samit Maharaj was saying we should force devotees to do it. Why? Because he said, yeah, that is health. You have to teach people good practices for health. Otherwise, later health becomes very spoiled. So he speaks so much on that with so much of feeling. He speaks that take care of your health, take care of your health. Before you turn 45, 50, whatever you can do good to the body, you do it. Later, it becomes very difficult, he said, otherwise. So that's why it's good actually to practice these things. Prabhupada says these breathing exercises are performed to control the mind and fix it on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the devotee Amrish Maharaj fixed his mind on lotus feet of Krishna 24 hours a day. The process of Krishna consciousness is to chant Hare Krishna and to hear the sound attentively. So that mind is fixed. So Prabhupada speaks about the devotional service aspect in these purports also. Continue. He says that this is not very useful. It's not very practical also, especially today's day and time. So he speaks here, you can see Puraka, Kumbhaka, Rechaka, Ida, Pingala, these nadis, how they work. The nerves through which inhalation and exhalation are conducted are technically Ida and Pingala. So these are all yoga's concepts.
Yeah, so cute. This one Swami, Gurudev, popularly known as. So he was telling one person asked him how do someone's sins are removed or sinful reactions are removed. So he said by pranayam, this by pranayam and by dhyan. He told you use those words. By pranayam and dhyan, this is done. So is it like any reference of this?
Oh, okay. It's coming ahead. Kapila himself speaks. At the level of dharana, one starts getting rid of sins. And if one perfects dharana, all the sins are removed completely. Now, of course, what that means is that one is actually, first of all, living a life of purity. And whatever sins he has committed prior, sinful reactions, so all those sinful reactions get destroyed if one perfects dharana. That's what he means by that. So naturally, if a person is saying all the sins are removed just by doing pranayama, what does he mean by that? Is he meaning sinful reactions? Whatever are there? Or is he saying sinful desires, reactions, or whatever? So, of course, it doesn't refer to pranayama anyway. Pranayama is like still within the mechanical system. It is not involved in Supreme Lord so much. So it cannot destroy the sins. Pranayama.
Yeah, just Gurudev, what he's saying, it's all bogus.
Yeah, he
There's
speaks.
no basis of
Yeah,
any spiritual this thing.
yeah.
He was asked.
If by Gurudev you mean that fellow who moves ahead, who moves on Harley Davidson,
No.
not that, right?
Akshay.
Okay.
So the Shiji guy was asked, what is the purpose of life? So he says, why do you want a purpose?
I am?
Why do you want a purpose?
Okay.
You have-
They speak like they're very giving some, sensational, scintillating answers. But they're actually very foolish people, no? And people also feel like, what a perspective. What a new perspective. So those are like too much. So you see, this is the verse I was saying, text 11. Okay, where are we? It's coming only, you can say now. The next verse is coming here. Manochirat syad virajam jitashvasasya yoginah vaivagnibyam yatha loham bhakam tyajati vaimalam
The yogis who practice such breathing exercises are very soon freed from all mental disturbances. Just as a gold, when put into fire and fanned with air, become free from all impurities.
Yeah. So by following all these pranayam and these practices of pranayam, pratyahar and all that, jitashvasa. So you see that by practicing that and leading pure lifestyle, following all yamaniyam, the yogi's mind becomes very quickly free from the contamination. See, unless the mind is freed from contamination, he will not be able to do dharana, right? That antakaran shuddhi is needed. Otherwise, that form he will not be able to hold only in the mind. Immediately, mind will go somewhere. Again, he brings back, again, it will go. So, this is the problem. So, even in our own life in bhakti, if we have too much struggle with chanting, that is because of impure heart, impure mind. Because antakaran shuddhi is not there, so we are not able to focus on Lord's form, name, or like that. This is a common denominator for all the paths, that you have to have antakaran shuddhi to hold the Supreme Lord. He puts it as a condition. The other paths put it as a condition. In bhakti, we will say, whatever, ena kena prakarena, begin. Begin. So when we engage the senses and all that, those are also factors which will cause the antakaran shuddhi, no? So you can see that these systems of, this engagement of senses in service and all, so that also helps one get freed from the contamination, and thereby one will be able to focus on chanting properly. Chanting itself, whatever level we chant, it will also purify, but that's not how the other process work. For that, the entry criterion has to first met. Because if they have to follow dharana, meditation on dharana, before that only antakaran shuddhi should be done. If you have to meditate on Vedantic statements, and then before that only antakaran shuddhi should be done. But for bhakti, if you have to chant the holy names, before that antakaran shuddhi has to be done. Is it like that? No. But in bhakti also, before doing something, antakaran shuddhi should be there. What is that limb? What is that limb before which you have to have antakaran shuddhi? Smaranam. Smaranam is the limb. So in that smaranam limb, where you just sit and you meditate on Lord's pastimes, qualities, manasik seva. It is manasi seva. For that you also need antakaran shuddhi. तो भटक जाएगा वो, होगा नहीं, this one. So we see, to hold something transcendental in the heart, you need a pure heart. Otherwise, it will not. I think this is gone. So, yes, Prabhu, you had that question. What is the question?
How much of the part of the encourage this yama and niyama? Because many times from the name of transcendental, we don't focus so much on yama and niyama. But is it really important for us also?
Yeah.
Because we go for practicality and we then put everything for us.
Yeah, exactly. So, how much it is important in the process of bhakti, yama, niyama? So, certainly within the process of bhakti also, these are very important limbs. Vishwanath Chakravarti says in his commentaries that the yama, niyam of yoga, they are common across the path of jnana also, path of bhakti also. They are common. These are common elements. This way. It's just that in other paths, these limbs, they become mandatorily, you have to follow them and you have to accomplish those limbs before going ahead. In bhakti, we will practice this, and along with that, we can still begin the process of bhakti, shravanam, kirtanam, smaranam, and all together. So bhakti itself will also help us to develop all these aspects. So there is this positive aspect of bhakti, which is not depending on them, but which will bring those qualities. But one should have the check, as you said. If there is no check only, alright, so one may be talking big thing about Raganuga Bhakti, or one doesn't have basic ahimsa or basic santosh. There is no tapa, santosh, which are like fundamental factors. So that's why, Prabhu, yes, these are common limbs actually. One doesn't have to overstress them, but one cannot neglect them also. One can see that fundamental things are not there. So that's why other day also I was speaking in Vaishnava culture also, books like Hari Bhakti Vilas and all, they talked about the Varnashrama aspects, the Yama, Niyama, and all these aspects. If you are speaking lies, it is asatyam. So Yama is being broken there. We see that. Ahimsa, Satya, Astyeya. So Satya ही नहीं है. और बात क्या करता है? Radha Krishna Prem Bhakti and all. But he doesn't have basic quality of speaking truth. So there is this Varnashram aspect which is there along with Bhakti also, that should be taken care, especially this fundamental Yama Niyamas and all these aspects. Prabhupada gave also one level of Yama Niyam by saying, yes, 4 relative principles, this much at least, no mating, this thing. But then there is subtler aspects of that also, right? Like meat eating or anything, or intoxication, gambling. So all of the subtle aspects also should be followed. So one should strive. So many of the Yama Niyamas, they address the subtler aspects. So our regulative principles also address those subtler aspects. So yes, Prabhu, they cannot be neglected. They have to be there. It's just that bhakti process, it will not stop for those. And you have to add, directly you correct them to chanting Hare Krishna, and then also tell these things. That it is important to follow them, like Prabhupada did this way. But in other parts, you can't do that. Usko asan सिखाएगा ही नहीं हो before you follow Yama names. निकलो बोलेगा इधर से. The yogi. You first follow Yama niyam, then only you come to us. हमारे इधर ऐसा नहीं है. We will say chant Hare Krishna first. बाकी आ जाएगा सब कुछ. That way. So you understand. So like that.
Even NOI, if we see devotional Yama Niyama, they're given, right?
Yeah, they're given.
Goals are
Absolutely.
clearly mentioned.
Correct. Yes. All those Shadbir Bhakti Vinashyati, Shadbir Bhakti Prasiddhyati. So very important. He has given only now. So he says then in this way, if he follows pranayam and all that, yatha loham jnatam tyajati vaimalam. So loham here surprisingly means gold actually. Loha is gold. Over here. So you heat the gold, what happens? It becomes very pure, sparkling. Similarly, we see that these mana, the mind also starts sparkling. And then this is the verse that I was saying for your question. Pranayamer dahe doshan dharana bhishchakil vishan pratyaharena samsargan dhyanena nishwaran gunan.
By practicing the process of pranayama, one can eradicate the contamination of his physiological condition. And by concentrating the mind, one can become free from all simple activities. By restraining the senses, one can free himself from other association. And by meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can become free from the three modes of attachment.
So you see, it is addressing that idea very particularly. By pranayam, you will become what? Pranayamer dahe doshan. So वो तो शारीरिक physiological doshas, they will be taken care. Like kapha vata pitta, imbalance of that will be taken care by pranayam. And because of, you can say, balancing kapha vata pitta properly, that itself will pacify the mind to a certain levels. If your vata is too high, then you see mind is also disturbed. So what happens is, by pranayam and all kapha vata pitta, that becomes very nicely. balance. So then that itself calms down mind to a certain level. So this doshan here, contamination, it refers to the doshas of kapha, vata, pitta, actually. So what Gurudev ji is saying, I don't know where from this people. Dharana bishcha kilbishan. And by dharana, you destroy the kilbish, which means the sinful reactions, the sinful activities, the sinful desires also. Because dharana is involving the element of Supreme Lord. Out of 8 limbs, the 5 limbs, they are not so much directly utilizing the power of the Lord, but last 3 limbs, they start utilizing the power of Krishna's Nam Rup Guna Leela. Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi in this. So that's why the sinful reactions and all that getting destroyed, that starts happening at the dharana level. So at the dharana level, this is also about what happened. So dharana vishya kilvisha. Dharana is what is destroying the sinful reactions.
This is only for Sabija.
This is only for Sabija. Yes. Yes. What they do in Nirbija is basically considered, it is considered anyway inauthentic. Yeah. So then he should have his own sutras, no? Patanjali Yoga Sutra nahi, Gurudev Yoga Sutras. That why is he quoting Patanjali, but doing what he wants to do? So Doshan Prabhu, you can see here, it's not very clear. Yeah. See Prabhu, Doshan Vata Shleshmadin. Vat Kapha Pitta. Kilbishani Papani. He says very clearly. Papani. Samsargan. Pratyahar will destroy the samsarga, the attachment to bad sense objects, material association. And dhyana will destroy Anishwaran Gunan. It will destroy the three modes of material nature, meaning attachment to 3. It will help you to transcend the world actually, by transcending the modes. Or Vishwanath Chakravarti says Anishwaran Gunan means Raga, Dvesha, and all those aspects. Attachment, hatred, such undesirable qualities, they will go away. Like that. So dhyana and then finally samadhi will help you to transcend the modes straight away. So this pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, what effect they have, he is speaking here. This way. Okay, so Prabhupada just writes this thing. Ultimately, one has to meditate on Supreme Personality of Godhead in order to be elevated to the transcendent position where he is no longer affected by the 3 modes of material nature. So, now, I don't know what these Nirbij people speak about these stages and how they explain, because even Patanjali also speaks Sabija only. So, we have to see that if somebody is...
In Hatha Yoga, we the first 4 are there.
Hatha Yoga to take the first 4 are there. But those who are talking further also in Nirbija. So then those people, it will be difficult for them to explain what dharana, dhyan and such things produce, what results they bring. For every item in yoga system, there is a parallel activity in Bhakti Yoga. Prabhupada this way. Samsargan means what? See, in Pratyahar Prabhu, what he starts doing is he starts cultivating opposite like he has a great attachment, supposed to eat sweets. So now he will start eating things which are exactly opposite to sweets. Pratyahar. If he likes very cool atmosphere, then he will put himself in hot atmosphere.
So goes inside that water.
Yeah. Yes. Panchagni tapan. So pratyahar मतलब उल्टा फीड करता है वो भी. Mind. So वो तोड़ देता है पूरा attachment like that. If you think mind, you are very fond of this, na? I will give the opposite now.
This works for you.
So works for them. It works to certain degree. It works. It takes away the mind from attachment. You want water or something? Take. So it takes away giving the opposite. So you can. It's a process of eating. Yeah, so I was saying that dhyana, that helps one to transcend the modes. So now, samadhi, like that. Patanjali speaks about the duration also. When you call it, this is considered dhyana and this is considered samadhi. So he speaks about few seconds and minutes as that duration, where one is able to think about something without absolutely asampradnyat samadhi. He talks about asampradnyat. Usko, except that thing, he will not think of anything. It's a complete absorption. So that person, you will touch him or like that, he will not realize. So that much of absorption he has got now. So these yogis and all, they demonstrate this sort of sampradnyat samadhi this way. So now, whether they are practicing sabija, if they're not practicing sabija, then that kind of samadhi, how they can achieve, those are the questions to explore. That I don't know, I have not also gone too much into how those nirbijas and all this. Yada manah swam virajam yogena susamahitam kashtam bhagavato dhyaye swana sadra valokana.
When the mind is perfectly purified by this practice of yoga, one should concentrate on the tip of the nose with half closed eyes and see the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So it is, we see that by all this yama and all that, when the mind becomes purified, it is very nicely focused. So then we see that such a person, he focuses, and this is dharana stage again, where mind is focused on the tip of the nose and one is meditating on the Supreme Lord's form. Here means the plenary expansion of the Supreme Lord, and that form of Paramatma. That is what is Kashtha. Or Kashtha is also known as Utkrishtam Swarup. Kashtha. So the yogi meditates on the best form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Paramatma, Vishnu. Typically, which Vishnu is meditated? Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. These two are meditated upon. This way. So that was about the Yama Niyam. Break at ego. So that form is also glorified. Dharana. What is the ashraya of dharana? Is it Lord Vishnu, or is it some monkey or something? So our dharana shray, I mean, the process of yoga here, if one is not qualified for Paramatma, one can shray. So at least those who don't want to meditate on Paramatma, they can take Virat Rupa as the ashray. That is a problem. Then whatever today is done. So dharna becomes a very important factor. Oh, that's so very, very difficult. You cannot meditate only on that.
There's no attribute only.
No attribute only. Like that. So, like Bhaktivedanta says to that person says that, well, you are worshipping, says to Baba. So Babaji says, what is your conception to that? So he says, it's like a slap. When I read that, I thought, wow, what? Babaji is so quick. He says,
रिपन मेरे लिए ब्रेक हो रहा है, बाकी लोग सुनाई दे रहे हैं क्या?
नहीं प्रभु जी, ब्रेक हो रहा है।
अबे वो ब्रो क्या चल रहा है? नेटवर्क ठीक है ना आपका?
कुछ क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकते हैं बीच में, मेरे को थोड़ा कुछ डाउट्स है इसमें।
Yeah, we can pause and discuss also a little bit.
वो मैं पूछने वाला था कि अभी डिवोशनल सर्विस में अभी जो कपिला मुनि अभी यम नियम ये सब के बारे में बता रहे हैं, और इसके बारे में प्रभु जी ने भी बोला कि डिवोशनल सर्विस प्रभु जी पहले प्राणायाम करते थे, वो सब बोले ना। तो अगर आपको फ्लो पता है तो ये कि इसके बाद फिर भक्ति का आने वाला है कि क्या है, मतलब ये ज्ञानी और ये सब क्यों पहले डिस्कशन चल रहा है अभी? कुछ आइडिया है क्या?
जी ने 25th चैप्टर और 29 चैप्टर पहले लिया है ना, तो कपिल देव सबसे पहले भक्ति के बारे में बताते हैं इनिशियली में, सबसे फर्स्ट डिस्क्रिप्शन जो केवल भक्ति है। और क्योंकि शी आस्क मोक्षोपाय योगोपाय लाइक दैट, शी हैज आस्क अबाउट ज्ञान एंड योगा मार्ग आल्सो, so that's why Kapil Muni is telling about this also. But again in the 29th chapter he will again tell about the pure devotion service, and there he will tell what is the अनन्य भक्ति और केवल भक्ति। तो उसी में वो अन्य अभिलाषा शून्यम जो वर्स है, उसका जो रूट वर्स है, सीड वर्स, वो 29 चैप्टर में आता है। तो ये सब मार्ग के बारे में बता रहे हैं, बिकॉज शी हैड आस्क्ड, देवती हैज आस्क्ड।
वही मैं यही डाउट था कि एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ डिवोशनल सर्विस क्यों लिखा चैप्टर का नाम, वही मेरा डाउट था कि ये वहाँ पे
पता है ना प्रभु जी ने कि श्रील प्रभुपाद ऑलवेज ट्रांसलेट्स, इवन लास्ट चैप्टर ज्ञान पूरा प्योर ज्ञान का है, वो तो उसको भी शुद्ध भक्ति लिखा है।
हाँ
तो प्रभुपाद तो उसका पर्सपेक्टिव भक्ति के हिसाब से देख करके अपने पर्पस को मेंशन करते हैं। पर एक्चुअली द लास्ट चैप्टर वाज फुल्ली फॉर अ ज्ञान योगी एंड दिस इज फॉर अष्टांग योगी।
ठीक है, ठीक ओके, यस।
बिल्कुल। अरे वीडियो का रिकॉर्डिंग ही वैसा है, इंटरनेट सब चल रहा है अच्छे से इधर।
ओके
उनके साइड से जब वो हुआ था तभी ऐसा प्रॉब्लम हुआ है।
ओके ओके, एक बार जस्ट जहाँ जहाँ पे ज्यादा समझ में नहीं आ रहा उसको थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं पॉसिबल, थोड़ा सा,
भी
ठीक है।
एक ही लास्ट के 1-2 वर्सेस ही हो रहा है, मतलब उसके पहले से तो चल रहा था अच्छे से। ये
ओके
तो
ओके हाँ, आपका आवाज भी ठीक आ रहा है, मतलब रिकॉर्डिंग का ही
हाँ
गड़बड़ है। ठीक है, चलेगा, नो प्रॉब्लम। विल एडजस्ट। अगर ज्यादा होता है तो किसी ड्यूटी को समझ में आए तो बता सकते
ये सब. So what is the point? The point is, if you are trying to apply your mind and senses by your own speculation, then they will come back empty-handed. But if that absolute is only revealing about itself, then following that particular description of the Lord and all, then mind can capture something of claim that we have understood
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Krishna's
यस
people
प्रभु।
to
प्रभु जी, इंटरनेट इज
monsoon cloud.
फ्लक्चुएटिंग अ लॉट।
अरे वो रिकॉर्डिंग में बोल रही है।
Net is fluctuating for
यस यस प्रभु, could not
right?
hear last 4-5 minutes.
It's a bit windy out here. It's a bit windy and because of rains today. So that's why it's happening like that probably. But should we switch to some other network?
मोबाइल नेटवर्क।
So I was saying this point that even the thought is material, right? Thought also cannot reach. So how will you meditate on that Nirgun Brahman? हो ही नहीं सकता meditation ऐसे. Then take the description from Shastra and meditate on a bona fide, isn't it? This way. So we should use this. Okay. So I think Prabhu now it should be okay. He has changed the network. So that's why we see that Lord Vishnu's proper descriptions from the Shastra, they are the conduits, they are the medium for us to meditate upon so that we one day become qualified to reach that actual form of the Lord. So our understanding also of bhakti is that Krishna's features are somewhat understood little bit. When we will see Krishna, we will realize actually he is not like monsoon cloud. Meaning what? Monsoon cloud was a very, very poor example for describing his complexion. Brahmaji prays like that in third canto. He says, whatever examples I had heard when I saw you, they became useless. Because I realized these are very poor examples. You are so beautiful that it has transcended all the examples. And they compared to monsoon cloud. What monsoon cloud? Your complexion is so beautiful. And Lord's eyes being compared to lotus petals, our cheeks, all other limbs being compared. So you see these examples become also very, very short. Did we read this? No. Prasannavadanam bhojam padmagarbharunekshanam nilotpaladharashamam shankachakradhararam.
The Supreme Personality of God is such a cheerful, lotus-like countenances with ready eyes like the interior of a lotus and a swarthy body like the petals of a blue lotus. He bears a conch, discus, and mace, and in the three of his hands.
The fourth is also there. The Senaki or lotus disappeared. It's also there. It's just not mentioned, but yeah, four hands, both शंख चक्र गदा पद्म. तो आप लोग लगेगा लोटस क्या लक्ष्मी जी को देखे आए क्या? Like that. So he has prasanna vadanam bhojam. Prasanna vadanam dhyaye sarva. Yeah, prasanna vadanam bhojam. Padma garbharunekshanam. Lord's eyes are so beautiful like the Padma Garbha, like the interior of a lotus. They have that little bit ruddy, sort of reddish tinge towards the end, pinkish reddish tinge towards the end. That's why they are compared to Padma Garbha, reddish tinge. Not like bloody red, but towards the end they are reddish. Otherwise, they are very beautiful eyes. Nilotpala Dala Shama. And his complexion is like blue lotus. Petals of blue lotus. Nilotpala. You have seen blue lotus?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I've also seen very beautiful blue lotus. So, Nilotpala. And then Shankha Chakra Gadadhara. And he's holding Shankha Chakra, Dada, and Padma, all this beautiful. The color of the personality of Godhead is Nilotpala Dala, meaning that it is like a lotus flower with petals tinted blue and white. People always ask why Krishna is blue. Prabhupada says. The color of the Lord has been not imagined by an artist. It is described in authoritative scripture. So people have all the very interesting ideas on why Krishna is blue or why Krishna is black. If you mix all the colors, then it becomes black. So that's why Krishna is black. It's like combination of all the colors. So this poetical imagination can continue. But the point is, why Krishna is black? No, Krishna is black. It's not like so much why he is like that. Why does he wear peacock feather? Why not crow feather? He wears peacock feather. It's like that. That's what he is. So why you cannot ask that? This is a disease of explaining everything in an allegorical fashion. Allegory, you understand? Allegorical. Oh, why peacock feather? Because peacock, shows this some sort of allegorical thing. So you may connect that to, okay, that pastime where he became peacock and danced and all. But before that, he was wearing what, crow feather or pigeon feather or what? It's like, no, those are pastimes in some particular kalpa, they manifest like that. But this is his eternal personality. So why Pitambar only? Why not jeans? No, Pitambar, he wears Pitambar, that's it. You can't ask that question. Why not? Why guitar? Why flute? Why not guitar? So then they will say flute is the wind type of instrument. It is the toughest instrument. So that's why he plays the flute. Why he has to take the toughest instrument? He can take easiest also. Like that. So these questions, they go on. You don't have to. You have to say this is his personality. That's how it is. Like why I like dosa? I like dosa. Finished. You can't ask that question. Why? Why not millet khichdi? So no way. So that's individuality, right? In Bhagavad Sandarbha also Jiva Goswami says, yeah, that's Vakti Samsthanam. That's individuality. He is like that. So you take his features. Vedum Kvanantama Ravinda Dalayata Barhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam. So that's how. These are all his paraphernalia. They are not for poetical imagination. If someone wants to convey some poetical meaning on that, if it is based on Shastra, it's not breaking Siddhanta in any way, so they may be accepted. But not like Krishna. So many things people have to say. Why Krishna loves cows only? Why he doesn't love buffaloes? Cow ही क्यों? गोपाल क्यों है? Why is not Mahishi Bal? They don't know that Krishna is Mahishipal also. Rupa Goswami in his Radha Ganodesh Deepika says Krishna has the cows and Krishna has the buffaloes also. नहीं तो buffalo horn कहाँ से आया? So Rupa Goswami says he has a lot of buffaloes also. तो तुम Mahishipal बोल रहे हैं Mahishipal. So he loves cows. He's Gopal, but he has also. You can see in Radha Krishna Gaudadesh, he writes like that. This way. So the point is, we are saying that Krishna's personality is like that. There is not so much why. You have to only ask what. You can't ask why to Krishna. He's like that. His personality is like that.
They ask that why, but why not?
So what do you say?
Krishna generally is like, but you see it
Yeah,
later in this world also.
correct. Yeah. Yeah, if they're feminist, you can also say that, yeah, take Radharani. That's Krishna in female form. I mean, it's not different than Krishna. It's feminine, right? It's Radha Krishna, what is that? Ek Tattva, Dui Dehadhari. So yes, we say in our philosophy that God has both aspects, male and female. So in female aspect, he has manifested as Shakti. In male aspect, he has manifested as Shaktiman. So Shaktiman and Shakti, both the features are there. So much they are confused on male and female God. They depicted Jesus as both male and female in many places. Because they thought, why Jesus has to be male only? Son of God, why he has to be male only? So God छोड़ो, son of God को भी नहीं छोड़ रहे वो लोग. So that's why they started worshipping Jesus. You won't believe, they started worshipping Jesus by depicting him as a half male and half female. Ardhanari Nateshwar. Like that. Because they're saying this is male chauvinism. Male chauvinism, you are dominant male. That's why you are depicting Jesus as male, or these Hare Krishnas as Krishna only. But Prabhupada would say, no, Radharani is there also. Radha Krishna, we are worshipper of Yugal Joda, Yugal Sarkar. So the point is, yes, as you said, Bhokta, Purusha. Originally, he has that form. And that form is Narakriti Parabrahma. Why he looks like human only? No, humans look like him. He doesn't look like humans. You understand?
Yeah.
First comes his form. And man was made in the image of God, or God was made in the image of man? Man was made in the image of God. So original comes God's form. And that he says, Vishwanath, and also Padma Puran and many scripture quote, Narakriti Parabrahma. That's the word. That form is in the human akriti, like that. So because the living entities want to enjoy the material world, so they also get this form, Narakriti, and try enjoyment. But original form of the Lord is like that, Narakriti, Parabrahma. So we are made as a reflection or as a perverse imitation of that form, this way. So all these questions, no, they don't have to be. Basically, point is Krishna's personality. Okay, let's read these verses quickly. Lasat pankaja kinjalka pita kausheya vasasam srivatsa vaksha samprajat haustubha mukta kandharam.
The loins are covered with shiny cloth. Yellow is like the filaments of a lotus. On his breast, he bears the mark of Srivas, a curl of the white hair. The brilliant Kaustuva gem is suspended from his neck.
Lasat pankaja kinjalka. If you see the lotus and if you see the filaments of the lotus in the world, the filaments, what pollen? So pollen are sparkling yellow or sparkling golden. So that's how his kausheya, that's how is his dhoti, pitambar. And on the bosom of the Lord, on the right part of Lord's chest, there is Srivatsa. There is this white hairs marked in a particular shape. That is Srivatsa. And there is also on the left bosom of the Lord, left part of his chest also, there is Lakshmi Rekha. There is another mark with the white hair, which is called Lakshmi Rekha. Just above the nipple, just above the on Lord's chest, Srivatsa Vakshasam. And then Lord wears Kaustubha. Kaustubh Amukta Kandharam. Kaustubh is lying on Lord's beautiful chest, and that Kaustubh has a golden thread, so that shines also on Lord's blue body. The Kaustubha shines, and also the thread of Kaustubha. Mattadvirefa kalaya paritam vanamalaya parardhyahara valaya kiritam gada nupuram.
He also wears around his neck a garland of attractive sclevel flowers and a swarm of bees, intoxicated by delicious fragrances. Hums above the garland. He is further superbly adorned with pearls of necklace, a crown of, and a pairs of almonds, bracelets, and anklets.
Yeah, and he wears this Vanamala. There are three kinds of garlands Lord wears: Vanamala, Vajayanti Mala, and Ratnamala. Three garlands. So Vanamala touches when he stands, it touches the ground almost. His feet, it touches the feet. It is that long. And the Vajayanti Mala touches his knees. It goes up to his knees. And the Ratnamala, it touches up to his navel. These three kinds of garlands are there. So this Vanamala, Vajayanti Mala has 5 kinds of flowers, and Vanamala has also many different varieties, leaves and all. So around that Vanamala there are always bumblebees. Matta Dvirefa. You know why the bumblebees are called Dvirefa in Sanskrit? Dvirefa. That's the word for bumblebee. So in Sanskrit, what does the refa mean? You know, refa in Sanskrit. Refa means the syllable ra. It is called refa. Like ma is called makar. A is called akar, ukar. But if you say rakar, they will say that you have not learned Sanskrit. ये कोई तो ग्राम में आ गया है. रकार नहीं होता है, रेफ होता है, रेफ. So द्विरेफ, 2 बार रेफ, because the bumblebees make the sound rrr. So that's why dviref. You see, very nice. And then 2 times. So like that, they keep on making dviref sound. So matta dviref kalaya paritam vanamalaya. So very beautiful sound, buzzing sound is there around Sri Krishna, Sri Vishnu's beautiful Vanamala. Parardhyahara valaya kiritangada nupuram. And he has armlets, bracelets. Nupura is anklets. Bracelet is you wear here. Bracelet. Armlets you wear here. They are known as Angada. Valaya is bracelets. Angada is this, And then anklets are the lotus feet. They are worn on the lotus feet. When Mother Sita's abhushanas were shown to Lakshmana, he says, Naham janami keyure. I don't know what Mother wore here on her arms, or I didn't know what she wore on her necklace, on her neck, because I always took darshan of her lotus feet only. So I can recognize anklet, because I always saw Mother's lotus feet, Sita's lotus feet. So he says, this is indeed her anklet. Other abhushanas, I don't know whether they belong to her. Then Rama said, let me see. Yes, they belong to her only. So that was Lakshman. Always he had such love and reverence for Mother Sita's lotus feet. So that's it. So Lord is in this way, having this all very beautiful pearl necklace, crown, anklets, bracelets. From this description, it appears that the flower garland of Supreme Personality of Godhead is fresh. It is fresh. The bees are humming, not the gnats or mosquitoes. Or sometimes some garlands are like so pathetic, rotten flowers are there. You know that gnats, mashak bolte usko, mashak. Mashak are very small insects. Those instead of dviref, all these deadly insects will be there. Just that garland is Lord's garland, but you feel like, are cup ke flowers this way. So no, there is freshness. So that's the spiritual world. So here at least we can try to give fresh garland, isn't it? Right? Even for speakers, we give the fresh garlands, like you give here. Every day it's a fresh garland. Otherwise, sometimes garland is like, although it is actual flower garland, it's like plastic. It has become that stiff. तो ऐसा लगता है जैसे वो 8 दिन का पुराना garland है. One place I went there, it was so stiff, it started pricking. तो जैसे उसने डाला मैंने निकाला. Why? Because the garland was very, very old and dried garland. So then you don't have to keep it in fridge also. They can be stored just like that. Because they are so much dried. Kanchi gunotla sat shronim hridayam bhoja vishtaram darshaniyatamam shantam manonayana vardhanam.
His loins and hips encircled by a girdle. He stands on the lotus of his devotee's heart. He is the most charming to look at, and his serene aspect gladdened the eye and souls of the devotees who behold him.
So you can see he has a very beautiful girdle. His loins are covered by this beautiful pitambara on which he wears the belt and the girdle. And he, in this way, he stands in the devotee's heart. This manifestation of Lord is most charming to look at. Darshaniya tamam shantam. It's a festival for mind and eyes and all this way. So we see that Lord's form is like so much bestowing happiness and joy. In the material world, we want to see the beauty, but the desire is never satisfied. See, material world's beauty agitates, Lord's beauty pacifies. That's the difference. It is very soothing beauty, and material world's beauty is very disturbing beauty. One immediately comes in mode of passion and all. But Lord's beauty is like extremely soothing. One's mind and senses will be calm, pacified. Apiccha darshanam shashvat sarvalokanam askritam santam vayasi kaishore dhrityanugahat kataram.
The Lord is eternally very beautiful, and he is worshipable by all the inhabitants of every planet. He is ever youthful and always eager to bestow blessings upon his devotees.
Yeah, Apicham, which means Atisundaram. His sight is most beautiful sight in the whole world to see. Sarvaloka Namaskritam, he is worshipped by all the universes. And what is his age? Kaishora. He's always 15 years old or 16 years old. He's always constant. And Lord Vishnu is also Kaishora. Sometimes Vishnu is shown as if 32 years old. Vishnu and Lakshmi are also Kaishora only. Shodasha Varshiya. That way. Our devotees, Krishna, they will show like fresh youth. But Lord Vishnu, they will show elderly. But actually, Vishnu is also like that only. Kaishora Vayas. All his associates are also like that. You can see. The female associates, they look exactly like Lakshmi. And the male associates, they look exactly like Vishnu. Except they have those specific marks, Vishnu as well as Lakshmi. Everyone knows that they are Vishnu and Lakshmi. Others, they look very much like them. Kaishor Vayas, Jai Vijay, everyone there, Shodash Varshi. Or 15th, 16th. Kaishor gets completed at 15. And then final words in this. Kirtanya tirtha yashasam punya shloka yashaskaram dhyaye devam samagrangam yavanna chavate manaha.
The glory of the Lord is always worth singing, for his glories enhance the glories of his devotees. One should therefore meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead and upon his devotees. One should meditate on the eternal form of the Lord until the mind becomes fixed.
Yeah, so his glory is worth singing. For materialists, it's not glory, it is sad story only. But then they still go on singing. But actually, Lord's glory is Kirtanya. And in fact, his glory is such a wonderful thing that one may feel like, why I have to glorify the Lord? But actually, Lord's glory glorifies his devotees only. When you speak about his glory, what comes out is the glory of his devotees. So he's always ready to actually glorify his Punya Shlok devotees. Punya Shlok here refers to devotees. Punya Shloka. Punya Shloka Naro Raja. Nalo Raja. Punya Shloka Yudhishthira. This verse you remember. Kings like Yudhishthira, they are called as Punya Shlok. Yadu, this way. So that's why one should samagrangam. One should meditate on this complete form of the Lord so that the mana does not fall from there. So samagrangam, the complete body of the Lord in this way should be meditated. Meaning this is which stage? Complete body. What's going on? You don't know difference between dharana and dhyan? If you meditate on a particular limb, that is dhyana. But if you meditate on the complete form, that is dharana. So this is dharana. This is what is being spoken is of dharana. This way. The whole complete form is being glorified. So first, what one does, what yogi does is first, he starts meditating on the complete form of the Lord. And then he gets into particular limb. That is called dhyanam. Second one. This. The same purpose is served when a devotee worships the Lord in the temple. You see, so beautiful. Prabhupada connects it to deities. So just as the yogi meditates on the Paramatma, we can meditate on the deity. Yes. So we have these beautiful forms of Radha Krishna. So we can meditate on these beautiful forms and get the same benefit. The beauty of the Lord is that such that the devotees who are connected with his activities are also glorified. Lord, whenever Lord is glorified, the devotees also get glorified this way. Okay, so that completes this discussion of dharana. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So, Lakshmi Rekha is different than Shiva also.
Yeah. Lakshmi Rekha is on the left chest.
White.
White. Shivatsa is also white. It is sometimes said golden also. Both the descriptions are there. But yeah, Shivatsa is the place where Lakshmi resides. Lakshmi Rekha also, because yes, he has both the Lakshmis, right? Shri as well as Bhu, that way. But usually Shivatsa is Lakshmi's abode on the Lord's chest. In Shayanam also, one who is sleeping, or Vaibhav Shayan, one who.
हरे कृष्णा. सो अनिबोल, तो हम रुकते हैं यहाँ पे.
थोड़ा 5 मिनट्स में समरी कर सकते हैं क्विकली.
समरी करना है.
5 मिनट्स मतलब थोड़ा एक ही हो जाएगा, बिकॉज recording lecture we should always 5 minutes discussion should be there, otherwise sometimes understanding is not there so much.
So Prabhuji was discussing about योगी के जो बारे में बोल रहे हैं, उसके पैरेलल्स, मतलब प्रभुपाद ने तो एकदम डिवोशनली लिखा है वो, बट ही बिगन विद धारणा, नॉट धारणा, पर यम नियम and asan in 4-5 verses, and then this discussion was about dharana only, I think, afterwards. Just a minute. क्या हो गया इधर से करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है ना ब्रो. Anybody wants to add, I can add.
Yes, Prabhu. Anybody wants to share some point can please share, so that at least those point devotees will be able to easily remember and recapture it. Yes, please.
That information was very interesting, Vishnu Keshwara. And that everybody
वो आपको आवाज क्लियर नहीं आ रहा है.
that information and that Vaijayanti माला flower. आवाज नहीं आ रहा, आवाज क्लियर नहीं है? वो आवाज
अभी
क्लियर
ठीक
नहीं
है,
है ना?
ठीक है, अभी ठीक है, अभी ठीक है।
तो वही भगवान विष्णु के बारे में बता रहे थे माला का। तो माला, फ्लावर माला was like up to the toe, and then Vaijayanti mala up to the knees, and then necklace mala is up to the navel. ये थोड़ा इन्फॉर्मेशन, थोड़ा स्पेशल इन्फॉर्मेशन लगा है।
उनका उन तीनों का ये नाम क्या था? वनमाला, वैजयंती माला और
रत्नमाला।
रत्नमाला.
रत्नमाला,
Ratmala is still navel, and
navel,
Vaijayanti mala is still knees,
knees,
and then Vanmala is still
and till lotus feet.
that is Vanmala.
Yes.
आपकी वीडियो को क्या हुआ विलासोदनपु?
क्या हुआ वीडियो को?
वीडियो नहीं दिख रहा है आपको?
हाँ, क्या ऑन तो है?
ब्लैक ब्लैक दिख रहा है, ब्लैक पूरा।
वो यहाँ दिखा रहा है क्या?
ओ ऑन है लेकिन दिख नहीं रहा है।
I also don't know what happened. Okay, yes. Murugadan Mukundan Prabhu, you want to share something?
He was telling regarding Shucho. Shucho means both cleanliness part and purity part. That was, वो पता नहीं था, वो अच्छे से समझे। क्लीन भी होना चाहिए और प्योर भी होना चाहिए। कभी कभी हम प्योरिटी के ऊपर ध्यान देते, पर वो जैसे कि रेशम के कपड़ा, वो सिल्क क्लॉथ के बारे में बता रहे थे, वो कभी हमेशा शुद्ध रहता है पर वो गंदा भी हो सकता है, वो पार्ट पता नहीं था, बताएं।
तो उसके लिए प्रभु जी ये पॉइंट तो समझ में आया, क्लीननेस एंड प्यूरिटी वाला। पर प्रभु जी ने वो रेफरेंस क्या पॉइंट लिया उस श्लोका में से? शुचो देशे।
हाँ, शुचो देश के बारे में बता रहे थे वो सभी।
शुचो मतलब क्लीन प्लेस, क्लीन
हाँ,
एंड प्योर
क्लीन
बोथ।
प्लेस, क्लीन एंड प्योर बोथ।
क्लीन एंड प्योर लिखा था, तो क्यों अलग अलग से लिखा था? प्रभु जी ने उसको एक्सप्लेन किया अच्छे से। करेक्ट करेक्ट। सम थिंग्स आर क्लीन बट नॉट प्योर। उसके लिए एग्जांपल दिया उन्होंने, द क्लोथ्स मेड अप ऑफ लेदर। करेक्ट ना?
यस,
Sometimes fresh looking clothes, but they are
इट इज नॉट
they're
प्योर।
contaminated. They're contaminated. They are not pure, and some are pure but not clean. उसके लिए क्या एग्जांपल दिया था?
रेशम का,
रेशम का
सिल्क
तो
का।
बाद में आता, एक उसके पहले हमारी धोती कुर्ता का एग्जांपल दिया था। हम कभी पानी से निकालते हैं तो उसमें पूरा मैला
डिप एंड ड्राई।
तो उसमें मैला लगा रहता है, लेकिन वो क्लीन प्योर है।
प्योर रहता है
क्लीन
पर
प्योर
क्लीन
है।
नहीं, दागा लग।
करेक्ट करेक्ट, परफेक्ट। थैंक यू। यस, पांडु शैम्पू, शैम्पू।
Yes, mainly telling about Sabija is bona fide meditation. So whole thing is on that only, and that is other things are not mentioned. Patanjali accepts, everybody accepts this Sabija, and modern thing is concocted by modern philosophers from West, and all nonsense is getting in. So personal form of Lord is only meditated, and there was parallels drawn by Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So devotees need not perform other activities separately, but there is always a parallel in bhakti for all the steps of yoga. So ultimately, one can focus more on chanting and hearing, and he achieves the same goal for which these yogis have attained, on much more. So this was the theme, and now Lord's personal form is described in detail. Every limbs, what it is decorated by, and how it is decorated, and that is what to be. Dhyana and dharana difference he mentioned, and after dharana, seeing the Lord, meditating, then every limb, his dhyan is there, and every limb's glories are mentioned, details are mentioned now. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Jagdishwar Mantu, Nare want to say something.
Prabhuji, I have means want to suggest if anybody have that understanding. So in this it is mentioned that this is Bhakti Mishra Yoga. Bhakti Mishra Yoga is mentioned here. So it appears that is Bhakti is more mentioned. It appears like that. So when it is Yoga Mishra Bhakti, and now is a Bhakti Mishra Yoga is explained by Kapil Bhagwan. So what exactly makes the difference? Anybody understand? Of course, I understand basic that when there is a Bhakti is a prominent and Yoga is a little mixture, then it is Yoga Mishra Bhakti. But how it is determined, can anybody understand? If anybody have clarity about this, can share. Yoga Mishra Bhakti, Bhakti Mishra Yoga.
Actually, there is misunderstanding about it. When we say that this is what I got confirmed from Madhugopal also. It is not that when we say that Bhakti Mishra Yoga means that um, Bhakti is less, Yoga is more, or when we say Yoga Mishra Bhakti, Bhakti is more, Yoga is less. Actually, this is it is said like that, but that is not the proper understanding. The understanding, one is called as Guni Bhuta, another is Pradhani Bhuta. So in Guni Bhuta Bhakti, the Bhakti is considered as Gauna or smaller, and the prominence is given to Yoga and Jnana like that. So that is called as Guni Bhuta Bhakti. So whenever we say Bhakti Mishra Jnana or Bhakti Mishra Yoga, that is talking about this type of Guni Bhuta Bhakti. So in that, the Bhakti is like a very, that's not the focus. Focus is Jnana or Yoga. And Bhakti is considered as smaller unit to just make Yoga and Jnana better. So here also, the Jnani is using Bhakti, little bit of Bhakti, to achieve his goal, which is Sayujya. Another difference is here in the Bhakti Mishra Yoga, the goal is Sayujya. In Yoga Mishra Bhakti, the goal is Lord only, but it is using the yoga.
Acha.
That
That is
so that
Pradhani Bhuta.
in Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti,
Bhuta
correct. Yeah, in Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti, where Bhakti is Pradhan, so there the goal is Lord only, but there is mixture of yoga for attaining the Lord. But here the goal is Sayujya, and Bhakti is used for that Sayujya goal as a Gauna Rupa. Bhakti is considered as a smaller one. Most important is yoga, and Bhakti is just smaller thing to it. So that way it is.
So you means basically even if Bhakti comes, whatever the goal depends on that, it decides Bhuta and Pradhani Bhuta. If goal is attaining the Supreme Lord, then it is Pradhani Bhuta. Even if you
goal and another major factor is where is the faith more. So the Gudi Bhuta person, he considers Bhakti as a smaller thing. He and considers Jnana as more important or Yoga as more important. The limbs of Jnana and Yoga are the major faith he has. In the limbs of Bhakti, he doesn't have so much faith. Whereas the Pradhani Bhuta person has more faith on the limbs of Bhakti, but still some faith on the limbs of Jnana and Yoga also. So that is the major consideration. And of course, goal is also different.
When there is a Shuddha Bhakti, there is a Kevala Bhakti.
Yeah, then there is Jnana Karmadi Anavritam.
That is Kevala Bhakti, no? That is mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you for understanding.
Jagdish Sharma Prabhu.
Hare Krishna bro. हरे कृष्णा
गो अहेड
आवाज आ रही है क्या?
बहुत अच्छे से.
हाँ ब्रो. पॉइंट ऐसा है कि एक्चुअली ये जो नरहरि ठाकुर को पूछ रहे थे शायद कि मेरे को पता नहीं लगा क्या क्वेश्चन था परफेक्टली, लेकिन ये प्रभु जी स्टार्टिंग में बोलते हैं कि ये भक्ति मिश्रित ज्ञान के बारे में ये पूरा टॉपिक का अभी डिस्कशन चल रहा है. तो अल्टीमेट एंड इज मोक्ष एक्चुअली. तो और बाकी अभी डिफरेंट डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ प्रोसेसेस यम नियम के बारे में डिस्कशन चल रहा है. एंड वन मोर थिंग प्रोजी टोल्ड दैट कि इसके आगे दैट वो एग्जैक्ट मेरे को देखना पड़ेगा वो वर्स, जिसमें एक्चुअली क्या है, फिर अभी डिटेलिंग में जा रहे हैं प्रभु जी। यम क्या किस किसको बोलते हैं, नियम किस किसको बोलते हैं, और प्राणायाम, फिर रेचक एंड दैट प्रोसेसेस विधि जो हम प्राणायाम में करते हैं, उसके डिटेलिंग में प्रपद पर्प में बताते हैं। बेसिकली इसके बारे में बोलते हैं। और एक चीज प्रभु जी ने लास्ट में बोलते दैट जो पार्ट एंडिंग में रहता है दैट इज प्रायोरिटी। जैसे भक्ति मिश्रित ज्ञान में ज्ञान इज प्रायोरिटी, ज्ञान मिश्रित भक्त में भक्ति इज प्रायोरिटी। तो ये एक पॉइंट था। यस प्रभु, इतना ही।
Thank you, Pri. Yeah, and just one thing, Puji was, while explaining, he was also telling about Antakaran Shuddhi. So these yoga processes need the Antakaran Shuddhi. Heart has to be purified. At least for yoga path, at least after Pratyahar, to go from Dhyan, Dharana and Samadhi, one's heart has to be purified. Whereas in the path of Bhakti, the chanting can begin without heart purified also. For Smaran also, there is some purification of heart needed, by which it can happen. But ऐसा कुछ forbidden नहीं है कि आप स्मरण नहीं कर सकते हो। अगर हो सकता है तो अच्छा है, but generally till the time heart is very purified, it will not happen. But there is no barrier like that. But in this process, it is very clear. आप कर ही नहीं सकते. You are not qualified only until unless heart is purified. So that is the difference Prabhuji was focusing on in the beginning of when the shloka came. And one more thing, just Prabhuji told about this in the 11th verse, I think, that what happens by pranayam, what happens by dharana, what happens by pratyahar, सबका रिजल्ट बता रहे थे। तो प्राणायाम से कफ वात पित्त दहे दोषान, तो दोष मतलब ये सब दोष, कफ वात पित्त के दोष नष्ट होते हैं प्राणायाम करने से, जिससे बॉडी अच्छा रहता है, तो फिर माइंड भी फोकस रहता है। एंड धारणा से धारणा अभी चल किल्बिशन, उससे सिंफुल रिएक्शंस जो हैं वो डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाते हैं धारणा से। और प्रत्याहारेण संसर्गम, और प्रत्याहार की वजह से जो सेंसेस हैं जो कि बहुत ही ट्रबल कर रही है, उससे छुटकारा मिलता है। और प्रत्याहार का उन्होंने मीनिंग भी बताया, एक ड्यूटी ने पूछा तो, मतलब एकदम अपोजिट करना प्रत्याहार। तो अगर अच्छा लगता है गुलाब जामुन तो हम कुछ और करेला खाएंगे, या थोड़ा कूल एटमोसफेयर चाहिए तो गर्मी में गर्म एकदम चारों तरफ आग जला के बैठेंगे। तो वो हो गया प्रत्याहार करना उस तरह, स्पेशली इन टर्म्स ऑफ ईटिंग एंड अदर थिंग्स ऑल्सो। एंड ध्यानेन ईश्वरन गुणान, बाय ध्यान वन मेडिटेट्स ऑन द क्वालिटीज ऑफ द लॉर्ड, लाइक दैट इट वाज मेंशन्ड। एंड ऑल्सो प्रभु ने लास्ट में एक इम्पोर्टेंट बताया कि व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन ध्यान एंड धारणा। ध्यान इज ऑन द लिम्स ऑफ द लॉर्ड, वन पर्टिकुलर लिम्ब, उसके ऊपर ध्यान करने को ध्यान कहते हैं। एंड धारणा, एंड ऑफ कोर्स श्लोका में भी आया था अराउंड 6-7 श्लोका में, कि ध्यान के समय पे एक एक लिम्ब को योगी मेडिटेट करता है, और उसके रिलेटेड वैकुंठ लीला मीन्स पास टाइम जो उस पर्टिकुलर लिम्ब का है उस पर मेडिटेट करता है। सो लाइक दैट ध्यान इज वाज मेंशन्ड। And then dharana means meditating on the entire form of the Lord, not only particular limb. So that was told in that thing. And एक बार उसका पता नहीं, उसके लिए एग्जैक्टली श्लोका नहीं है, बट वी हैव हर्ड बिफोर आल्सो, कि ध्यान धारणा और समाधि में फर्क कैसा होता है, कि वन मैन कैन फिक्स हिज माइंड फॉर सम फ्यू सेकेंड्स एंड देन सम फ्यू मिनट्स, एंड ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 30 मिनट्स पे वो समाधि चले जाता है। तो उस टाइम पे उसको कोई टच भी करे, कुछ भी करे, उसको कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता। लाइक दैट काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रॉन्ग इंटेंस एब्जॉर्प्शन ही डेवलप्स एट दिस स्टेज। तो वो वाला पॉइंट मुझे बता रहे। एंड इसका मुझे एक पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस भी है। एक बच्चा था मेरे फॉलोअप में, वो क्रिया योगा करता था। तो मैं उसको एक बार रूम पे गया हॉस्टल में बुलाने के लिए, वो क्रिया योगा कर रहा था। फर्स्ट ईयर का बच्चा था, बट ही हैज बीन डूइंग फॉर लॉन्ग ईयर्स। एंड मैं उसको बोल रहा हूँ आकाश चलो प्रोग्राम के लिए, ही वाज उल्टा उल्टा, मतलब सिर नीचे था पैर ऊपर था, एंड ही वाज नॉट लिसनिंग ओनली। मैं उसको बोल रहा हूँ चल आकाश चल, वो उसको कुछ नहीं दे रहा, उसको मैं आवाज कर रहा हूँ। ही वाज कंप्लीटली, मैं शॉक हो गया, बाप रे क्या हो गया इसको, हिल ही नहीं रही। एंड हाफ एन आवर आई वाज ट्राइंग टू मतलब आई वुड रियली सी कि बंदा समाधि में रियली आई वाज इंस्पायर्ड आई शुड डू भक्ति आल्सो लाइक दिस समडे. थैंक यू प्लीज. ओके अभी विल एंड हियर. So tomorrow also
तो ये
11 to 1. हाँ. Yes,
प्रत्याहार
bro.
का क्या कहा था आपने? बेनिफिट, प्रत्याहार का बेनिफिट?
बेनिफिट नहीं, उसका प्रोसेस बताया था.
नहीं
अपोजिट.
नहीं, जैसे आपने सिलफुल कफ वात कफ पित्त जो होता है ना,
हाँ
वो
हाँ.
बैलेंस होता है प्राणायाम.
ओके ओके
प्राणायाम
ओके. सेंसेस
धारा
सेंसेस कंट्रोल होते हैं. सम सरगम सेंसेस.
प्रत्याहार.
सेंसेस कम इन कंट्रोल
प्रत्याहार.
because you are not feeding them
ओके
ना.
ओके
We are doing opposite of it. Okay. Senses are controlled.
ओके ब्रो. हाँ दैट्स आई रिकलेक्टिंग. ठीक है, ओके, थैंक यू ब्रो.
Thank you so much bro.
आई
Sorry
वाज
bro आप
लिटिल
लोग.
स्लीपी. थैंक यू फॉर रिकलेक्टिंग because of services and Hari Bol. Thank you.
Yeah. Please take rest because recording भी है. मुझे पता है आप लोगों को थोड़ा तकलीफ हो रहा होगा लेकिन we will try to hear and complete it nicely. So कल कल लास्ट करेंगे फिर हो जाएगा. फिर एग्जाम का मैं बताता हूँ. थैंक यू. श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय.
जय हरे कृष्णा. दंडवत.